friend, welcome. If we haven't met yet, I'm Jen. I'm a part-time online clothing reseller, which means I go to thrift stores, I buy used clothes, I list them on eBay and Poshmark and sell them hopefully for a profit. Today is Friday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. I have a little Valentine shirt on. It's not really me. It's very sparkly and glittery. I'm not a very sparkly, glittery kind of person, but I thought it was fun for the day. It did come out of my inventory, and I'm actually going to donate it because I've had it for way too long, and so I'm just going to get rid of it. Usually I do a ship with me video where I share what sold in the last 24, maybe 48 hours, and I ship and then talk about the items and yada yada. Today, I did have a couple items to ship. None of them are very exciting. I will ship them tomorrow, so you'll still see those if that's something that you're interested in. But I kind of just had some other things going on in my life today and wanted another break from shipping. So I thought we could just have a little bit of a chat. I have 4, maybe 5 things that I thought we could chat about. And the first is returns. I had another return this week. This is just a Banana Republic flannel shirt. It's called the Dylan Classic Fit. It was just returned for fit, which is, frustrating, but not that big of a deal. It doesn't ding my account. For me personally, I've decided to do paid returns. So that means that the person who wants to return the item, as long as it's not my fault, then they have to pay for the shipping to ship it back to me. And that's worked so far well, I think. The other options are to have no returns, which I don't really recommend because I found I did no returns right when I started, and people would find a way to return it anyway. They would lie and say it wasn't as described. They find ways to do it anyway. And so for me, it was better to do paid returns. You can do free returns. I just choose not to because I feel like I'm not Amazon. I know a lot of times people buying on eBay kind of see me as Amazon. They see eBay sellers as Amazon, but and I've said that I've only had one person who messaged me and was like, why didn't I get my full refund? I shouldn't have had to pay for the shipping, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm just like a mom selling stuff out of her garage. Like, I don't have employees. I don't have a huge volume. Like, it costs money for me to pay for your shipping, and I don't have that. So I've only had one person complain. I did go ahead and just refunded her the shipping because for me, it was easier to do that than to have the headache of her being upset, and I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, if she was going to ask eBay to step in, and honestly, I don't know what they would have done if she had asked them that. So the other thing I think that's important to note about returns is that I do paid shipping. So you can do calculated shipping, flat rate, or free shipping on your items when you're selling, and I do calculated. And part of the reason I don't do free returns, there's many reasons, but I'm sorry, free shipping. Part of the reason I don't do free shipping is if I did free shipping, I would also be paying for the money for the shipping to the person, and then if it was paid returns, they would pay for the shipping back, or if it was free returns, I would be paying for the shipping back. But because I do paid shipping, so either flat rate or calculated would count in this, they still have to pay that shipping. So when I refund this person, they're going to get the cost of the item back minus what it cost them to ship it to me. So the money that they paid to me for shipping stays with me because I already shipped it to them. I already paid that money to buy the label to ship it to them. So if you have questions about that, let me know. I feel like I've talked way too long about that. But I had a couple, updates, I guess. One is kind of silly. I did a thrift haul just a couple days ago, and I showed this stack of books. And so this is James Herriot. It's a lot, obviously a set. It's a series called All Creatures Great and Small, and I said it wrong in the other video, but it's called All Creatures Great and Small. And I thought that was the name of the first book, but it's actually the name of the series. And so I thought that I was missing that book. And I bought these for me because I love this series. And it's about a vet in like the 40s and 50s in England. And it's just very like idyllic, and I don't know, it's very cozy feeling. There's a BBC Masterpiece Classics, I think, did a video version of it. I've not watched that, but I've heard it's wonderful and I want to see it. But anyway, I bought them for me for $3. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to look it up just in case. The average sale price of a used set is $40, and it has a 65% sell-through rate. I was like, do I really need them? I can get them from the library, right? I don't know. Sometimes when I buy things for myself and then I look them up just because I'm curious, I second guess myself. So I'm curious what you would do. Would you keep these? Would you sell them? I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. I might sell them just because that sell-through rate is so good. And I don't know, I'm a little bit of a minimalist too. Like, I don't like to have a ton of stuff in my house. Yeah. I'm just kind of looking around to see what's on my desk. I did get a post office box service fee due. So I have a PO box that I use for my returns. So that's what my return address is on all my labels for Poshmark, Depop, because I can set it to that on Pirate Ship, which is what I use when I ship on Depop and then on eBay. And I got that because I did not publish publicly my store on YouTube, and a lot of people were asking, like, what's your store? And I just felt like, because my address, like my home address, was on the labels, that just felt really unsafe. Hopefully it wouldn't be, but I don't know, it just felt unsafe to me. And so I went ahead and got a post office box, and I really am glad that I have it. It's not terrible. I was going to tell you, 6 months was $94. And then 12 months is $188. So that's not really a discount to do the 12 months versus the 6, but I have to renew that because I think I only did 6 months at a time. But I feel a lot safer. Now I can put my, my Poshmark closet, my eBay store, everything is in my description. People can look at it if they want. And then I don't feel like they have my home address. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious what other people do. And maybe even if you don't have a YouTube channel, that's fine too. I think that there's something about, like, I kind of felt uneasy about it without the YouTube channel. And just, I'm sure you're fine. I really am. But I'm sure that there's a lot of weirdos out there. And there's people that get angry, and who knows what they would do. I don't know. Thankfully, I've never had any incidents. But yeah, it was just a safety thing for me. So I did want to give an update on the Poshmark scenario that I had happened to me as a buyer. And just a quick, TLDR. Hopefully I can do that quickly. I, a few weeks ago, bought some shirts from one buyer. I bought them in a bundle for my husband. Though I bought 3 shirts. One of them came to my house, and it was in a poly mailer that had a Ground Advantage label on it, which I thought was very strange. I didn't receive the other 2. I had some interactions with the buyer, or with the seller rather, and they said, yeah, we had to send it from our different warehouse. So I'm assuming it was probably like a drop shipping situation, which I don't really understand how all that works. But the other 2 ended up coming to me after I accelerated. I talked to Poshmark about it and basically said, hey, this didn't come to my house. And they gave me my money back. Then the shirts showed up. I reached back out to Poshmark and said, hey, I got the shirts. Can you, unrefund my money? And they were like, we can't do that. You've been compensated. The seller has been compensated. We're just calling it a gift on your end. I needed to still get my husband some more shirts. And so I ended up buying another shirt from this same seller. And I was a little nervous because I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. I did end up getting the shirt in a timely manner, similar to how I got that very first shirt. But what I found was really interesting was there was a Ground Advantage label on it. Again, not priority. And I don't understand that at all. When I sell things on Poshmark, I don't have an option for a Ground Advantage label. They send me that was a weird noise. They send me the priority mail label into my email. I print it off and that's what I have. I don't have a choice. And so I'm curious, like why are they doing this Ground Advantage label? Like, how are they doing that? And it seems to me like maybe they're buying the Ground Advantage label on top of the priority label, but that would be more money out of their pocket. I don't know. I have no idea, but it just seemed really strange to me. All 3 of those packages that I got from that same seller had Ground Advantage labels on them. So if you have any insight into that, I would love to know. Let me know. Let's see. I think the last thing I have is not very exciting. I got a tissue paper ream. There's, I think 960 sheets of tissue paper in here. Maybe this is exciting. Do you find tissue paper exciting? So when I ship my items, I wrap everything in tissue paper and, oh, that was a terrible noise. I'm sorry. And then I add a little thank you sticker. And I'm down to like 4 pieces. I'm sorry, 6. There's 6 pieces of tissue paper here. So I went ahead and ordered this. I believe it was only $36. So it ends up being, is that right? Yeah, it ends up being like half a cent, I think, a piece per sheet. It's very, very cheap. That can't be right. My math's off. Anyway, it's still super cheap for me. I'm making all sorts of terrible noises. I'm sorry. I do enjoy having the tissue paper, and I get lots of comments in like my feedback, just like, oh, this was nicely wrapped. I don't think it's necessary. If you don't have tissue paper, I don't think you have to do tissue paper or plastic. I see other people, keep, like I store my items in plastic bags, but I don't ship them in plastic bags. So, but I see other people ship in the same bags that they store them in. And I don't think that that's necessary either. There have been multiple times I've ordered things and it's just the item in a poly bag or just the item in a box. And I think that's totally fine. But this is something that I choose to do. And I was thinking, I don't know. Somebody sent me all these fun like poly mailers, and I have always used just cheap ones, white ones, boring. But I just find the cheapest ones I can find. But I have found when I'm using these, they just bring me so much joy, especially right now. I live in Indiana. It's February. It's like the worst month to live in Indiana ever. And so just having those little things that bring me joy, I was thinking, I wonder if I should get like a printed tissue paper, but I would be concerned it would rub off. Like if it were to get wet for some reason, I would be afraid that the print would like rub off onto the fabric because I mostly sell clothes. I don't know. Okay, look at this. That's a ton. So much tissue paper. But hopefully it will last me a long time. Well, hopefully it won't last me that long because I want to sell things, right? And the faster I go through this tissue paper, it means the more items I'm selling. That's my theory anyway. All right, well, I'm trying to pull this out without shaking my, oh, that's the other thing I was gonna tell you. My tripod broke. And so you can see you're kind of sitting on a box right now. So it's just a box propped up on my desk. And I'm trying to not shake it too much while I open this. But now I need to get a new tripod. Although I was thinking, I wonder if I threw it away. This is not gross garbage that I'm digging through. It's just like the backs of my labels and stuff. I was thinking, I wonder if I can just like mount this somewhere, and because then I can just still use this part that my phone goes in. I don't know. Anyway, the little stem that connects it's riveting. It's riveting information here. The stem that connects what it was like attached to has broken off. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try to rig something up. I like to save money when I can, and even though I was looking at tripods on Amazon, and the one I probably would get is like $9. I'm sure it's super high quality, but that's probably why this one broke, because it was not very high quality. But I found it at a thrift store, so it's definitely served its purpose, and I got my money's worth from it, that's for sure. So maybe that is probably what I'll do, is just grab some duct tape, and there's a what is this called? Like a portion of my shelf is right behind you. Ooh, yeah, shaking you. So I probably will just duct tape that to the shelf and call it a day until I find another one at a thrift store somewhere. So thankfully I go to the thrift store a lot. All right, I feel like I have babbled on enough and just kind of talked about lots of little unimportant things, but it's all stuff that kind of applies to reseller life. So make sure you like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't. I usually do a question of the day, but I feel like I've asked a lot of questions along the way. So if you have an answer to any of those, please make sure you leave a comment so we can chat a little bit. That's one of my favorite parts of having a YouTube community, is just getting to get to know you a little bit better in the comments. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have had a wonderful Valentine's Day. I truly love you and I appreciate you so much, and I will see you soon.